In this video, we are going to walk through everything you need to know to kickstart your personal finance journey. Everything you need to know about personal finance is on this page. We're going to start from the beginning and build this up together. Every month, you're going to have income. From that income, you're going to need to pay your expenses. Together, this is called net income. Then you're also going to pay for investments and savings. Let's circle back and talk about income. There are a lot of ways that you can earn income. There are W-2 jobs, 1099 jobs, business income, real estate income, investment or interest, government payments like Social Security or unemployment, gifts or allowance from family members or your parents, inheritance, and other ways that you can earn income. There are thousands of different jobs out there that pay you across these different methods. These are just some of the more common ways. And then you have expenses. You have your income or capital gains taxes, housing. That includes if you're renting, your rent plus your renter's insurance, your utilities or bills. If you own, that's your mortgage, taxes, insurance, maintenance. Again, anything related to that housing, your utilities, etc. Similarly, you have your car, or if you take public transit or bike or you use Ubers, you have that as well. If you're leasing a car, it's your lease payments, any maintenance, gas, etc. If you own the car, it's either your loan payment or if you paid for it outright in cash, plus taxes, insurance, maintenance, gas, all in cost to having that car. You have things like food, you've got to eat, healthcare, that includes healthcare insurance, plus things like your copay, meeting your deductible, or things like proactive healthcare. If you belong to a gym, you take supplements, etc. You have your education for those that are paying for some sort of secondary degree or perhaps private school, your books, anything related to education. You have your clothes, entertainment, charity or giving, miscellaneous, and of course there are many, many more expenses. These are just the more common categories of expenses that people have on a monthly basis. Now, these expenses will vary over your lifetime, so what you may have in your expense bucket as a teenager may vary as what you need to pay for as a college student or young adult or married or with children or when you're retired. So this can vary over the course of your life. Then you have your investments and savings. So these are things like savings for an emergency fund, putting savings away into a sinking fund for short-term yet expensive or bigger purchase items like a car or a house, or saving for a vacation or college or something like that. Then you have things like bonds, stocks, commodities, real estate, venture capital, private equity, business investments, arts, collectibles, NFTs, and the list goes on and on. Again, these are just the more common investment or savings categories. Let's circle back to income for a second. Income is the cash that you earn this month plus any cash from prior work. This is called delayed gratification. We'll come back to this in a minute because it's a very important concept. Now you have expenses. Let's go back to that bucket. This is cash that you spent this month plus cash that you spent previously. This is called debt. If you spend more this month than you have an income, you are actually adding to the debt that you have to pay next month or in the future. So you're going to increase that cash spent previously category, which typically isn't so great. You have good debt and you have bad debt. Good debt is anything where it increases your net income relative to the cost of the debt. Bad debt is anything otherwise. So let me give you an example of good debt. Good debt could be something like a house where if you buy the house and you get a mortgage for it, your mortgage, taxes, insurance, maintenance, all the expenses that go into that house, owning it are actually cheaper than renting over the long term. So it's bringing down your expenses, which brings up your net income. And that is higher relative to the cost of that debt. Now, that is not always the case with the house. So you have to crunch the numbers. For any debt, you've got to crunch the numbers. Classically, most credit card debt is bad debt. Again, it doesn't always work that way. You've got to crunch the numbers for your unique situation. But just as a rule of thumb, trying to stay out of that credit card debt is usually a good idea. Now, let's talk about credit scores for a second. You want to keep these high. Why do you want to keep these high? You want to keep these high because it helps you qualify for that good debt. And also, it keeps the cost of that good debt lower because the higher your credit score is, all else equal, the lower your interest rate is going to be. Okay, that's expenses. Now let's talk about investments and savings. This is going to be cash that you save or invest this month, either for the short term. So again, something like saving for that car or a down payment on a house, or for the long term, something like saving for your retirement. Now, ideally, that investment brings money back into your pocket and adds to that cash from prior work, that delayed gratification. Now, our goal here is to get to a point where we can stop earning new money, and we can do that once our investment income covers our expenses. And there is something called a 4% rule of thumb. And what this says is that once your entire investment portfolio is 25 times your annual living expenses, generally you can stop earning new money. So in other words, entire investment portfolio times 4% equals annual living expenses. You're going to want to divide that by 12 if you're looking at it on a monthly basis. Again, rule of thumb doesn't always work, but a general guideline. Now let's talk about insurance for a second. Insurance reduces the cost of risk. The most common types of insurance are things like health insurance, homeowners or renters insurance, car insurance, life insurance. What insurance is going to do is you pay a little bit every month, and in the event of a catastrophic event, your house burns down, you have major unexpected surgery, you get in a major car crash, the high end of what you would need to pay in that situation is reduced. Typically, you'll owe a deductible, and then insurance would cover the rest of the cost. So what you're doing is you are paying a little bit every month to reduce the risk of having a really high expense one month. That is insurance in a nutshell. Let's talk about investment vehicles for a second. These are things like 401k, Roth IRA, HSA, etc. These either help reduce your taxes or increase the cash invested. For instance, if your company does a 401k match on anything that you invest. These are simply vehicles that you invest through. They are not the investment itself. You still have to actually go put the money into an actual investment, and that would be a bond, a stock, a commodity, etc. In a nutshell, this is everything you need to know to get started in personal finance. If you have any questions about anything on this page, drop it in the comments below and I will get back to you.